So now that we've explored the trends and drivers of energy use in buildings, we will turn to understanding the key concepts for driving down energy use in buildings. Put another way, how do we reduce energy waste? We'll start with the concept of net zero buildings, which is a long-term objective adopted by many jurisdictions. The concept of a net zero building is one that has gained importance, particularly with increased awareness of the role of buildings in emissions of greenhouse gases and other harmful pollutants. Even where net zero buildings may seem difficult to obtain at scale today, setting a long-term goal of achieving net zero buildings can help focus attention on the steps needed to increase ambition to reduce energy waste over time. There are two common formulations of net zero energy and net zero carbon. Net zero energy means that over the course of a year, the building has consumed as much energy as has been generated on site, resulting in a net zero annual energy consumption. This does not mean that the building does not draw energy from the energy system, but it does mean that the consumption is offset by on-site energy production. Net zero carbon means that over the course of a year, the building has emitted as many carbon emissions as have been offset on site, resulting in net zero annual carbon emissions. There are some differences in how net zero energy or carbon can be defined. For example, in both cases, annual energy consumption or annual carbon emissions can refer to the amount of energy consumed or carbon emitted in terms of final energy or primary energy. That is, it can refer to energy consumption or carbon emissions in the building itself, so that's final energy, or it can refer to the amount of primary fuels that must be consumed to generate and transfer energy to the final consumer, so that's primary energy. There can also be differences in the treatment of renewable energy and carbon offsetting. In some definitions of net zero, the renewable energy generation or carbon offsetting does not need to happen on site. In others, it does. Several countries have already committed to requiring buildings to become net zero. Many local governments have also committed to the Net Zero Carbon Buildings Declaration, whereby all new buildings must be net zero carbon by 2030, and all buildings, both new and existing, must be net zero carbon by 2050. Beyond this declaration, several businesses, cities and states have also signed the Net Zero Buildings Commitment. So let's take an example from Brazil to understand the role of solar panels in offsetting building energy consumption. A Brazilian study explored the potential for achieving net zero primary energy buildings by installing PV panels on the roofs of different building typologies. Specifically, the study looked at public offices, corporate offices, schools, bank branches, detached houses and social housing apartment blocks. For each building type, the area of PV panels required to offset the annual primary energy consumption of the building was compared to the available roof area. The results suggest that the typologies such as public sector offices, corporate offices, social housing apartments and bank branches generally do not have enough space on the roof to meet all of their annual consumption with rooftop PV panels alone. However, detached houses and schools generally did have enough roof area to meet their energy consumption needs, and therefore could more easily become net zero energy. But even in this case, however, let's remember that before offsetting energy consumption with renewables, it's important to exploit all energy efficiency opportunities available. This way, fewer PV panels or renewable energy sources will be required to offset the remaining energy consumption.